Blessed is the mind too small for doubt. The first time I came across that statement was in a Warhammer 40K rulebook. I didn't know what it meant, and I was probably way too young to even understand the meaning, but I thought it sounded so awesome. Then I heard it again many years later in one of 40K's greatest video games, Dawn of War.
Bless the mind too small for doubt.
It was the chaplain of the Blood Ravens that delivered it in a slightly different way, but it was still so catchy. Well over a decade later, and the quote still resonates in my mind. Blessed is the mind too small for doubt. And for the longest time I thought it was a good but oppressive quote. It described how the highly religious imperium of man required gullible minds who believed in the God Emperor and were willing to send themselves to their death in order to hold on to the petty fiefdoms of the High Lords of Terra and the planetary governors. But what I didn't understand was why was it being said by a Space Marine chaplain? Space Marines don't believe in the God Emperor, nor do they work for the High Lords of Terra. That's when I realized that the quote was way more powerful than what I originally thought. Blessed is the mind too small for doubt. The purpose of a Space Marine is to destroy the most savage and insurmountable threats that the galaxy can throw at humanity. Greenskin hordes, insurrectionist gene-stealer cults, traitorous angels of death, and xeno-empires with technologies that are far more superior than that of their own. Should a Space Marine stop and think about these overwhelming odds, Battle Brothers would be utterly consumed by the impossibility of the task. And yet the Emperor's angels of death continue to persevere. And this perseverance comes from the faith, not in the false divinity of the Emperor that was created by the Imperial Creed, but in the ignorance of the true challenge that lies ahead. Blessed is the mind too small for doubt. As funny as it sounds, I think there's a lot of value in this way of thinking. I have an entire closet and shelves upon shelves of unfinished projects. There are prime minis that are just sitting in cubbies collecting dust, waiting to be painted. I have random sprues littered across my office floor. I've tried so many times to organize and get to work on my pile of shame, but just thinking about the task at hand pulls me away from it, and I don't even try to tackle the situation. But that's gonna stop today, because bless the mind too small for doubt. My task is to complete all of my unfinished projects and film each step for your viewing pleasure. Have I said I wanted to do this in the past? Yep. Did I get discouraged because of how difficult it is to create content like this that doesn't get as much views? Yep. Will it happen again? Nope. Because blessed is the mind too small for doubt. Sometimes the creative process works better when you put your head down and just work at it, ignoring how difficult the task is. So with that said, let's start off with this little Play-Doh knockoff container that has been sitting in my closet for 5 years. I present to you my unfinished Orc Boys. These models are a perfect representation of how long it takes me to complete a painting project. They are half built, painted, and probably only make it out of this container once a year. I'm even ashamed to say that I've played these guys on the battlefield. They have sticky tack bases and no heads. What makes these guys interesting is that it's the first time I thought about painting an orc unit with multiple shades of green skin. I figured since humanity has different skin tones, why can't the greenskins have different shades of green? Within the orc lore, the older and more battle-hardened an orc is, the darker his shade of green is. Some war bosses have even been described as near black. In this particular unit, I have 3 different shades of green. My painting process is super basic. After the model is primed, I apply a green color to the skin. Once I'm comfortable with the coat, I mix that same green with a tan to get a lighter green of the same tone. I simply dry brush the second tone as if it's a heavy dry brush onto the skin. I repeat the process with a little bit more tan mixed in and apply a light dry brush for the highlight of the skin. Now that the skin is done, I start painting the next layer, which is the clothing. These guys are Bad Moons, hence they are primed yellow. Bad Moon orcs wear yellow and gold to show off that they have the most teeth. In orc culture, teeth means currency, therefore they are the richest orcs, and yellow is their way of flexing on the other orc clans. I usually use 3 colors for Bad Moon clothing. Yellow, brown, and black. The boots and the straps are always black, and the yellow and brown are alternated between the pants, the shoes, and the accessories. The goal is to make every orc unique, but still have a unit color scheme. Some pants are left yellow, others are brown, and so on. Once the base color is applied to each clothing part, it's time to move on to the details. I highlight clothing just like I highlight skin, with a mixture of a lighter color, in this case it's white, with the original color of whatever clothing it is. The big difference is that I only apply one highlight. Once that is done, I move on to the weapons and the metallic bits. I first apply a coat of black, and then I highlight with a heavy dry brush of metallic silver. Some metallic bits I just completely paint silver and bypass the whole black undercoat. Once I'm comfortable with the paint job, I hit the model with washes. Nolan oil is used for the skin and the metallic bits, and Seraphim sepia for the clothing. But we're not done yet. I need to paint the heads. I decided to paint those separately to spend more time on them, since they're the most interesting part of the model and it's easier to paint the chest and the weapon without a head. Painting orc heads is just like painting the other skin parts of the model. 3 shades of green, Nolan oil wash, but what makes them different is that I hit the model with more detailed highlights, not just dry brushing, but actual painting. And these are the finished heads. But we are still not done. We need to base these guys. A quick and simple base technique is laying down a coat of PVA glue, sprinkling some sand, and adding some tiny bits of corkboard. Once the base is dried, we coat the entire thing in black, dry brush a gray, and then another dry brush of a lighter gray, and then finally clean the edges with a black. We glue each orc boy down, and voila, the unit is done. The best part of this painting technique is that it only took 5 years, but obviously if you remove the procrastinating, you can get this done in a couple of hours. Now, are these models truly done? No, they're not. I see a lot of details I can add and a couple of things I can fix. However, I'm not ashamed to play these guys on the tabletop, and in my opinion, I can close the book on this project and move on to the next. Bless the mind too small for doubt. Now, the Orc Boy is one of the Greenskin Army's most important unit, and I can't leave you guys without giving you some good old-fashioned lore, so here goes. Orc Boys are the rank and file of the Orcs. They go to battle in large, unruly mobs, and are usually led by a Nob. They are tough, determined infantry. The Orc Boys fall upon the enemy in a great howling tide of violence. Their battered and grubby armor usually consists of no more than a few scraps of flak jacket adorned with a shoulder or backplate bearing their insignia. Boys place great pride in their weapons, though they are not above using their fists, claws, and teeth when face to face with the enemy. They are generally armed with heavy solid-shot pistols, known as sluggas, and brutally edged weapons, called choppas. Though crude and varied in design, choppas are quite suitable for hacking limbs and caving in skulls. When a large mob of boys armed with sluggas and choppas charge into the foe, the mess they make to their enemy is quite terrifying. Orcs have a preference for crude and noisy weapons, and find it difficult to believe that a gun can inflict any real damage unless it makes a loud and terrifying noise. Those boys who have become addicted to the deafening roar of automatic weapon fire call themselves shooter boys. These orcs form roving mobs that are continually on the lookout for something to kill, gleefully firing off ear-splitting cascades of bullets whenever they see something moving up ahead. Though each shooter boy loves firing his sturdily constructed weapon, he often has more success when using the shooter to bash out the brains of his target. Occasionally, an orc will manage to hang on to a heavy weapon that gives his mob some real anti-infantry or even anti-tank capabilities. The two favorites are the big shooter, beloved for its high rate of fire, and the trusty rocket launcher. The larger the mob, the more likely they will have some of these heavy weapon specialists within them. Some orc boys take to the field wearing scrap armor made up of thick plates of scavenged metal. These are Ard boys and are capable of enduring a greater degree of enemy fire and fending off lesser blows. They usually tend to look like walking magnets, although it is generally considered unwise to point this out. Orc physique is extremely robust, however, and it can withstand tremendous punishment. An orc boy feels next to no pain, even from the most terrible wounds, enabling him to fight on while horrifically injured, and even for a short while after he's technically dead. The greenskin regenerative process is so powerful that an orc boy who has been cut apart in the crucible of battle can be simply stitched back together again, bewildered but ready to fight once more. And those were 40 facts on the orc boy. Moving forward, I will be creating more of these hobby videos mixed with some of the classic lore videos that you guys love on the channel. If you guys like these types of videos, I hope you guys can help out by sharing with some of your friends or subscribing to the channel for more of these hobby videos. And of course, giving me suggestions on what type of projects you would like to see next. If you guys are interested in starting an orc army, I'm going to be putting a link down in the description below to an Amazon affiliate link. It takes you to the orc starter set. In my opinion, the orc starter set is excellent for anybody starting orcs or somebody who already has orcs. By clicking the link, it doesn't cost you anything more than what you would already spend on Amazon, and it helps us out. If you guys aren't looking to buy but would like to support, we always have a Patreon, link down in the description below for that as well, or simply by liking, commenting, and sharing really helps out the channel. And to spread the word of this new type of video for the channel, I want to do a subscriber appreciation giveaway. I'm going to be giving away the Indomitus box set. It turns out that it wasn't that hard to find. The online purchases are way different than actually going to a hobby store and buying it online. There's actually a hobby store nearby that still has some of these boxes left available. So we're giving this away. All you have to do to win is number 1, be a subscriber, because this is a subscriber appreciation giveaway. Number 2, hit the like button. 3, share this with your friends on Facebook, Reddit, whatever social media you guys use. And lastly, comment down in the comment section below. You can comment whatever you want and however many times you want. Just be aware that spam will be deleted by YouTube itself. We can't really control that, so just watch your spamming, I guess. The winner will be announced next week. Thanks for everything, guys, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. This is Gershwan with One Mind Syndicate signing out.
Always used to put my freedom first in any